who is right and who is wrong? Who cares who's right and who's wrong?
Everyone has a different opinion about everything there is to have an opinion about, and I act like mine is right.
I think the way he acts and behaves, or like things he says, is intentional to hurt me. But really what I have learned is it's the way that I process life.
Yeah, if you blame me or if I blame you, it releases the person from being wrong.
I would share something and Travis would fix it. And I wouldn't like that. So I would try and share again.
The way I would listen to you is to fix your problems.
Man, talking it out is so helpful when it's a judgment-free zone and you're just listening to me. Wow.
And in order to see where you're coming from, I need to be able to come to your side and see without it affecting where I'm coming from. Like I need. Hey, I'm Travis.
And I'm Adele.
And we are The Noble Marriage. We hope that through our channel, you will be inspired and motivated so that your marriage will be all that God created it to be. Welcome back to Coffee and Conversations. Today's conversation is the top 4 questions to avoid asking your spouse in a conversation.
Or argument. Specifically, because these 4 questions, all they do is perpetuate any argument or disagreement that's going on, and it does not help the marriage in any kind of way.
Yeah, they do. They do things like build your case against the spouse. They separate you from your spouse in conversation and your thoughts.
Yeah, and a lot of it has to do with judgment and who's right.
It has a lot to do with proving who's right in this argument.
Yeah, which I think we all just have that human nature. Like, we want to be right. We want to be right in our point of view.
Don't we?
Yeah.
I would sometimes rather be right than loving to Adele, or I would rather be right than relational to Adele.
Yeah. Okay, so here are the top 4 questions to avoid. And you can find these questions on our Instagram profile, The Noble Marriage. And this post was posted on the 27th of December. Okay, so number 1, who is right and who is wrong? I mean, how many times have the argument gets started by that comment or something is said or whatever, and then 10 minutes later in the argument, it's no longer about that thing. It's about I'm right or you're right and I'm wrong and it's just, now it's like about that, and it's not even about the argument anymore.
I spend a lot of time in our disagreements trying to figure out how I'm right about something and how you're wrong about something.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it has nothing to do with the original reason we had the discussion to begin with.
Right. It's just defending your point of view.
Yeah, that's it.
And what's great for you to get in this is, who cares? Who cares who's right and who's wrong? And really, when it comes down to it, our opinions and our point of view, like, everyone has different opinions and different points of view. And who's to say you're the right one?
That is so true. There's 7.5 billion people on this planet. Everyone has a different opinion about everything there is to have an opinion about, and I act like mine is right.
Yeah. And so when you look at that, it's like, okay, what if we're both wrong here? Or what if we're both right?
Yeah.
There's nothing in a code of ethics that say, if you say this, you are right. And if you say this, you are wrong. And so just looking at your spouse's point of view as that's it, their point of view. And we say that to each other. Well, that's your opinion. Well, that's your perspective on that. My perspective is this.
Yes.
And then you can really find something new to create out of that. Okay, so number 2, who is to blame here? You know, I love to blame you for my feelings. I love to blame you for anything in an argument that points away from me.
Yeah, if you blame me or if I blame you, it releases the person from being wrong.
Mm-hmm. And I think being in marriage ministry, it's funny because you and I have found different ways to blame each other. In that, it's like, you're the one who got triggered. You're the one who got triggered first and then got defensive. And we use our own work to blame each other.
To prove ourselves.
To prove we're right.
Isn't that something?
So it doesn't matter where you are in your marriage. You probably are doing the exact same things we are doing, and we're in the marriage ministry. Like,
right.
It is marriage. But these questions do not help.
They do not.
3, what really happened was, and then fact checking. So when I share a perspective, and if you didn't see it happen that way, you're going to say back, no, that's not how you said it. This is how you said it. And that's why. And, taking facts and trying to use them against your spouse. And
that has always taken me into the weeds.
Oh, yeah.
Into areas that are not productive and never benefits the conversation.
The argument was over here, and now we're way over here, just spinning in a vortex.
Mm-hmm.
We call it the vicious vortex of death in our transformational course that we have for couples. And we call it that because that's exactly what it is. And when these questions are introduced to that vortex, it can get really out of control.
Yeah, absolutely can.
And number 4, why did you do, say, or think that? Why did you think that way? Why did you say that to me? Any question of why is going to put up walls, and now I need to defend my why. And so if you're looking for your spouse to be defensive, ask them why.
Why will do it. Why reminds me and others of a kid and a parent relationship.
Yeah, it is. Of you needed to explain something, which you can't help but be defensive about it. Where I could say instead, tell me more about why you said that. Or tell me more about why you thought that. And that opens up conversation instead of defensiveness. And so you're going to want to go check out that post. At the bottom of that post, we include 4 questions that you should ask your spouse to help open up a conversation and really help healing take place around that argument and getting you out of the weeds so you don't get stuck over there. And
the first 4 separate you as a couple. They divide you. They create disconnection from each other. And the other ones kind of bring you together to be able to see each other's point of view, to be able to improve the relationship.
So here are 4 great questions to ask your spouse instead of the first 4 that you want to avoid. So number 1, tell me more about that.
That's a great one.
That's my favorite one.
That's my favorite too.
Whenever I feel judgment coming up of he shouldn't have said that, or he shouldn't be doing something that way, or whatever, it's so much easier for me to go into why did you blah, 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 and this and that. Where
that shuts me down and makes me want to come back too.
Yeah. Where instead I could just be like, oh, well, I probably don't have all the information. So can you tell me more?
Yeah.
And then that gives me more insight into what he's thinking or why he said what he said. And then number 2, you are hurting and this matters to me. So how can I support you right now? Like when my feelings are upset, the last thing I want to do is defend why my feelings are upset, Sean Stover's definition of empathy is you are hurting and this matters to me. And that just takes my focus off of like us being on a different team to now we're on the same team and you're trying to help me. And that just lowers all my walls right away.
It does. When you really think about it, we are in a marriage together for life. Why would we not want to associate with each other about you are hurting and that does matter to me?
Right.
Instead of why did you do that?
Yeah. Because we think it's intentional sometimes. Like, I think the way he acts and behaves or like things he says is intentional to hurt me. But really, what I have learned is it's the way that I process life that's hurting me. It's not him.
That's good.
It's how I'm taking him. And when I can shift my focus and then he shifts words that he uses, boy, the two really like start to connect and intertwine versus put disconnection and walls. And then number 3, what do you need right now? Sometimes we need something. Sometimes it's like, I need a hug. I need to just talk this out and I need you to listen. You know, we used to go through like, I would share something and Travis would fix it. And I wouldn't like that. So I would try and share again and he would fix it. And I wouldn't like that. And so I would find myself repeating over and over and over things because I'm feeling like he's not listening to me because he keeps fixing me instead. And I don't know about you, but I don't like to be fixed because it just points to there's something wrong with me and I'm broken. And we've really gotten great at when I start sharing my feelings about something, particularly negative feelings, like I'm feeling sad or fearful or pain, things like that. When Travis can say, hey, what do you need from me right now? It takes it to a whole nother like focus of, you don't know what I need. Am I looking for you to help solve a problem? Because men typically are great at solving problems, and I have that quality too. I like to fix things. But when you can instead just listen, because I can share, I need you to just listen to me. What I have found is that when I have shared and you have listened and you haven't tried to fix me, I'm then gonna say, like, what do you think about that? What should I do about that? And now we're like working together versus you fixing me and me defending that or resisting it. And it's just like arguments would come out of that all the time and we couldn't figure out why.
It would. Probably one of the biggest things I learned is when she would start talking and telling me her issues, I would listen to fix. Like the way I would listen to you is to fix your problems. Whereas when I shifted that, either one of two things happened. Either you would start off the conversation with, hey, I'm going to speak and I really don't want you to fix anything. I just want you to listen, or I'm going to talk and I could use some opinions that you have. That is a good way to preempt it. Or when you're like, hey, I want to share something with you. And then I preempt it with, do you want me to just listen? Or do you want me to help you with solving it?
Right.
So one of those two can help like create the conversation or shift it to where we can have good conversation.
And most of the time when you're just listening, like I find that when I am talking out my thoughts, they're not as big as I thought they were. And then I'm able to start working out my own problems, and you can literally see me solving the problem as I'm talking about it because I'm figuring things out along the way.
That is so good, because every time I've ever tried to fix you, it backfires. And then we end up in an argument. Like, she had an issue and now she has a bigger one. Now she has two. And what is really awesome is sometimes whenever you are talking, and like you said, it seems big.
Yeah.
But when you're talking, you're fixing yourself. You're taking care of everything yourself just by talking it out.
Yeah. Man, talking it out is so helpful when it's a judgment-free zone and you're just listening to me. Wow.
I'm thinking back to your childhood, like no one wants to be fixed. And if a parent tries to fix you, we resist. And what happens in a marriage is the same thing. Is Adele is used to a parent relationship of telling what to do or fixing. And she sees me as that way whenever I'm trying to fix her. So she's going to resist. However, if you have a safe environment, it's free, it's safe for you to talk, and you're just like processing, you're just taking care of it all yourself.
Right.
You're figuring it all out. You're like, oh, it's not as big as I thought, or thank you for letting me share. Now it's not that big of a deal.
Most of the time I'm like, oh, these thoughts make no sense. Like, you know, or I'm having a thought of somebody is out to get me, or, you know, whatever. And then I start talking it through and I'm like, oh, I actually can see another point of view because it's not so loud and big in my mind. And then number 4, I can see where you're coming from. What can I do to improve? And that one is just so huge, especially if we're talking about like you hurt me in some way and I'm trying to share that with you. Just coming over to my side to just see my perspective and why I see it that way. And rather than defending yourself, it looks more like, what do you see would be an improvement? Because otherwise, how do you know what to do different, you know, unless we can share in that conversation and really come up with something new that's going to support everyone.
I like that. And in order to see where you're coming from, I need to be able to come to your side and see without it affecting where I'm coming from. Like I need to be okay with you having a different opinion.
Right.
And just be okay with seeing that.
Yeah. So I want to close this out with Romans 2:1-2. You, therefore, have no excuse, you who pass judgment on someone else, for at whatever point you judge another, you are condemning yourself, because you who pass judgment do the same things. Now we know that God's judgment against those who do such things is based on truth. And we think that we are God in the sense of I can judge everything he does. And what this Bible verse is pointing to is, you know, that's God's position to judge, not mine. And when I am pointing at someone else, I'm actually condemning myself. And I just think that's so huge. And so our challenge to you is use these 4 questions that support you and avoid those other questions that just perpetuate that vicious vortex of death. So if you found value in this video, please hit the like button and let us know. And we would love for you to comment, like, what are some other questions that you guys have asked that didn't go so well in your own relationship? And what questions have you found that really support your relationship as well?
Thank you for joining, and we'll see you next time.
Bye. In our, what is that?
That is your hand going forward.
Hey, you're not finished yet.
We're here to make a difference in your marriage and inspire other marriages as well.
So if you found value in this video, please hit that like button and also leave us a comment to let us know what value you got from it. This helps us create more videos that you enjoy.
We would love for you to join our community of awesome, like-minded people.
Go ahead and hit subscribe and you'll receive videos that will impact your life and inspire you to be your best self.
And please share this channel with your friends and family so their lives can be enriched as well.